What's up guys, my name is Arena, welcome back to my channel where I review everything tech. Guys, it's been about 3 months since the OnePlus 7 Pro was released and I think it's a perfect time to look at the camera improvements on the OnePlus 7 Pro after all the updates and compare it with the mighty cameras of the Pixel 3 XL and the iPhone XS Max. This time, I'm not gonna talk about the camera specs of these three phones. If you haven't seen my previous camera comparison video, check out the link in the description where I talk about the tech specs in more detail. But in this video, let's get straight to the photos and videos I got. And first, let's do a quick flashback to see what was actually wrong with the OnePlus 7 Pro's camera when this phone just came out. I'd say the camera had three main problems. The first one was the softness in the photos. It was pretty clear that the shots coming from the 7 Pro were always the softest when compared to the Pixel or the iPhone. The second problem was about the exposure. Oftentimes we got pretty dark photos. And the third problem was the night shots. The pictures came out very blurry. So in this video, we'll take a look at some daylight photos, night shots, portraits, photos taken in challenging light conditions, and much more. And of course, I'll test the side-by-side video quality and stabilization. As always, let's start with some portrait shots. By the way, I was wondering guys, how many of you actually use the portrait mode? Please let me know. The first thing to notice is that all of these three phones did a very good job in terms of background. We can see three beautiful properly exposed backgrounds here. When it comes to the Pixel 3 XL, it always produces pretty sharp, crispy looking photos, which makes them look very dramatic and beautiful, but when people appear in a picture, this sharpness tends to make a person's skin look older and somewhat less flattering, so just keep it in mind. When it comes to the OnePlus 7 Pro, I'd say it always produces softer portraits than the iPhone XS Max and the Pixel 3 XL, and the portraits from the iPhone XS Max look pretty natural in terms of colors. When it comes to separation from the background, I'd say all three cameras did a pretty good job. I don't see any obvious flaws here. Let's look at the next example. Here, once again, we can see three properly exposed backgrounds. The blur on the photo from the Pixel looks very intense by default, but you could adjust it later if you want. And once again, we have a recurrent pattern here. The iPhone XS Max gives us a pretty natural looking portrait. The photo from the OnePlus 7 Pro looks a little soft, especially if you look at my face. And the Pixel 3 XL produces a very sharp portrait that overall looks beautiful, but at the same time makes me look so much older. And when it comes to separation from the background, we have some flaws in all of these three photos. I guess there is no perfect phone at the moment. Next, let's look at some random daylight shots, and the first thing that actually interests me is whether the softness problem on the OnePlus 7 Pro was resolved. Let's take a closer look and zoom into the photos. Well, this particular photo looks fine to me. The OnePlus 7 Pro produced the brightest photo out of these three here, showing us plenty of details. The Pixel 3 XL gives us a pretty contrasty shot with pronounced shadows, and when it comes to the iPhone XS Max, I would say it gives us the most in terms of vibrance. Next, let's take a look at another example. Once again, we can see some difference in brightness and slight difference in colors. And let's zoom into the photos and check how sharp they are. And looks like there is no problem with that here. Another example for you guys, and zooming into the photos, it looks like the softness problem was solved for good, which is amazing news. We can see some differences in color temperatures here, and I would say the shot from the OnePlus 7 Pro looks the least vibrant. And also notice how these three phones depicted the shadows. Just look at that ice cream truck, as well as the shadows under the tree. The iPhone XS Max makes all the shadows look pretty bright, so you can see the most details there. The Pixel 3 XL's photo has the darkest shadows here, giving this picture a very contrasty look, and the OnePlus 7 Pro shot is something in the middle. A few more examples for you guys, so you can judge them for yourself. Now let's look at some selfies. The face retouching mode was off in all of these devices, so you could see how the skin looks by default in a selfie mode. In this particular example, the iPhone XS Max blew out the sky, my t-shirt looks overexposed on the shot from the OnePlus 7 Pro, and the Pixel 3 XL produced a properly exposed photo with a very crisp background. And next, let's look at some portrait selfies. As always, the iPhone XS Max blurs out everything except my face, which always looks weird. The OnePlus 7 Pro produces a very bright and warm shot, making my hair look a little ginger, and the Pixel produces a very crisp shot. You can clearly see the texture of my hair and my clothes. Now let's see how these three phones takes times to zoom pictures. All these three cameras have different focal lengths, that's why the photos also look different, even though all of the shots were taken from the same spot. If I zoom into the photos, you can see that all the shots look pretty sharp and clear, but keep in mind that unlike the other two, the Pixel 3 XL doesn't have a dedicated telephoto lens, so I used the digital zoom for this comparison. Moving on to the photos taken in the dusk. Here I did not use a night mode on any of these phones, and as you can see, the improvements of the OnePlus 7 Pro's camera is dramatic. By the way, these are the results I got from the last comparison before the updates. Well, looks very blurry and bad. And now we can see three beautiful, slightly different photos. Let's zoom into the pictures and take a closer look. Well, I don't see any obvious problems here, guys. I think for the photos taken in the low light conditions, they look pretty good. Let's look at one more example in the dusk. Once again, no night modes here. Well, not bad at all. And now let's take a look at the photos taken with a night mode. Of course, the iPhone XS Max does not have a night mode, but it was enabled on the OnePlus 7 Pro and the Pixel 3 XL. As always, I was curious to see how the Pixel and the OnePlus 7 Pro compare to the XS Max while using their default modes. And as you can see, they did a pretty good job. The shots look crisp enough. However, if you look at the sky, it looks grainy in the photo from the Pixel. Next, I used the Nightscape mode on the 7 Pro and the Nightside mode on the Pixel and compared it once again to the default mode of the XS Max. And right away you can see a big difference in exposure. The photos taken in a night mode look so much brighter now, but I think I like the default shots even better in this particular case. So what do you guys think? One more night shot example for you guys. So once again, first I used the default mode for all three devices, and then I used the Nightscape mode on the 7 Pro and the Nightside mode on the Pixel. And if you ask me, my favorite shot is the one taken by the OnePlus 7 Pro. I like that the light coming from the frame of the clock is not overexposed, the bricks on the wall look very detailed, and I like that the sky is dark because it just looks more realistic. Guys, I simply have to show you some pictures that actually made me feel a little sad and disappointed in the OnePlus 7 Pro's camera. They were taken indoors with artificial light in a supermarket, and this ice looks like a bunch of cats used it as a litter box. Well, the shot is very yellow and dark. And in the next example, we can see a recurrent pattern here. Once again, we get a dark and yellowish shot from the 7 Pro. You can see that the green apples look yellow here, and all the colors look wrong. Now let's switch gears and look at some videos. The OnePlus 7 Pro's videos have definitely gotten way less saturated. I specifically took a video right at the same place, so you could see the difference. The colors look more natural now. By the way, if I play the same video on my OnePlus 7 Pro, you will see that the colors look different. They look more natural, just like on the iPhone XS Max or the Pixel 3 XL. If you want to post a video on Instagram, no worries, it will look just like you see it on the display of your OnePlus 7 Pro. However, when you export your videos to your computer, by default they have a wide color gamut, and that's why they will look more saturated. The stabilization is so good on the Pixel 3 XL and the OnePlus 7 Pro, and the iPhone XS Max falls behind here. Next videos were taken in the low light conditions. You can see some differences in colors here. And then let's look at the videos taken in the night. So guys, looks like the OnePlus fixed the main problems on the 7 Pro's camera, and I hope the company won't stop there, cause I think there are still some things that I wish were improved. If you ask me how I feel about the camera on the OnePlus 7 Pro, I would say that sometimes it lacks consistency and predictability. It feels like 8 out of 10 shots will be great and 2 would totally disappoint me. However, I think the OnePlus 7 Pro is more than capable to produce good photos and videos that would satisfy the majority of users. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and see you in the next one!